What's going on, everybody? Brick Builder here. Welcome to another episode of Hypixel Scours. In today's episode, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying out the Ecologist rush strategy that a lot of players use. And we're going to see whether or not it's an effective strategy for me specifically, because I generally go Ender Chest, which gives you 4 chests and takes longer to loot, or I go with the Armor Smith class, which is also quite valuable. But we're going to try to change it up and see if the Ecologist rush strategy will work for me, and whether or not it's a good strategy that you guys should use, because I just think that it's a strategy that a lot of new players to Scours use, and they just don't know any better, don't know different strategies. So I want to see whether or not this early game strategy that players use is actually like really smart, or whether it's just a waste of breath, time, and a class when you could get something else that's more valuable than an axe. We're going to just kind of see how it runs down, see whether or not it works. The one downside that I already do see to this is you are breaking mid chest, so I'm actually going to leave one. Because if you leave a singular mid chest, then it'll respawn with everything in it, and that's what I'm trying to do. Because I want to be ready for when respawn comes, because it's going to happen at some point. But I have gotten loot, and I got it at a pretty rapid speed, I will say. So the speed of getting the loot early game is definitely an advantage. So for players who are new to like Scours and looting, it's definitely easier for getting early game loot. I have noticed that. All right, there we go. He's gone. Take him out. Okay, hi there. This man is still alive and needs to not be. I do have some pearls, but I don't really want to waste them on. Oh my god, that's water. That's not the right thing. Okay, we gotta be ready for a fight here. This man is okay, not even gonna turn on. They should have turned on us, but nah, not really their cup of tea, I guess. But yeah, it seems like this strategy so far is working out fairly well on this map, but I don't know if that's just like a luck-based thing that it's working out well because I semi know what I'm doing right now, and you know, that sort of thing, or whether or not this is actually a very effective strategy overall. But we're definitely doing okay so far. We got the last guy right over here. And all right, we're about to pop the last guy dead, hopefully with this. All right, there we go. And then we can pearl back over here, and we got our first win using the Ecologist rush strategy. And now we're gonna see how it works, how it'll work on this map here. How will the Ecologist rush kind of play out on a map like this, where it's definitely very different as far as it goes. Now you can get a diamond axe out of a chest, so if you really wanted to do this strategy and you don't have it, it is possible. But at that point, then you're just going to be looting anyway, so I don't see a major point. But you can definitely use this to loot very quickly, very fast. But one of the downsides I do see to this class is it gives you no actual advantage besides being faster at loot. There's no, like, you know, you don't get any special item, you don't get any valuable, like, gain from this outside of having a faster loot, which some would argue you can already get without even using this class, because I think that you can loot very effectively without using a class like this. You don't really need this class to be able to loot fast, but it might just help you with further aiding the speed at which you loot. But it's not like required by any stretch of the imagination. So that is definitely a thing that players should keep note of, is that it's quite possible to get this speed of looting without even like having to use your kit on this, because for some people this might not be justified. They might not want to go with an Ecologist class when there's no true like advantage to this. You don't get any fancy item or no cool thing that you can use really to help you out. You just get, to be blatantly honest, you just get an axe, which, I mean, you get an axe and blocks. Which, another thing with Ecologist rushing that can be useful is you do get a weapon and blocks right off the bat. So in theory, it also could be effective to try this strategy of where you actually go for, you know, killing right off the bat. It's definitely another possible strategy that some players do use. I'm not personally a huge fan of this. I feel like it makes more sense to loot before you rush. And if you can loot fast enough, it just makes more sense in my opinion. But for some players, they like to do their rushing with the Ecologist class, get a kill early on. It does work. I'm not going to say the strategy is wrong. It's just not really one that I would personally recommend. And if you're going to go for something like that, I'd say go for a slightly more effective class, such as Night Kit or some kit that gives you some armor. I just feel like that's like overly more valuable for when you're going to go for rushing. If you really want blocks off your spawn area, then I mean, just go ahead and use the rookie class. You get a little bit of armor, a little bit of blocks, and a semi-decent weapon, which I feel is definitely more valuable. And we're just going to try to bow this guy here. They're just standing there like literally being, okay, they're going to put a block there. Well, what I think we're going to do is we're just going to have to wait for refill then in a few seconds here. And then we're going to have to Ecologist their face off. Alright. We're going to have to just ask them a question. Yes, I know I'm very creative at puns. I know you guys are all logging off the video, but I would too, but I'm the one making it. There you go. Lots of tree puns right there. Actually, about tree puns to be exact. No, it wasn't 3. Was it 3? I don't even know. Yeah, we're not going to go for any Ecologist breaking now. It just doesn't make any sense. We're at this late in the game. There's nobody here. The whole point of Ecologist is to go fast. So for me right now, okay, we didn't actually get any of it, but wait, are they, where are, okay, they fell in the void. Well, we didn't even have to ask them a question, they just jumped. Alrighty, now we're going to try this strategy. We're going to break the first 2 like so, make those into that, and then we're going to head right on over to a neighboring island, and we're going to see if this works out at all, whether or not we get snowballed off, whatever happens. We're going to go for it and see how this type of strategy can play out. Okay, there we go. So we got an easy game, early game kill. I don't know if there's really any advantage to that besides the gapple, which was all pure luck that we got. That might be a small advantage, but I doubt it, to be honest, because we're pretty lacking in armor. And then what we're going to do is we're going to head back now and loot our island's 3rd chest down here and hope there's like some pants in it. There is. We also got a bow. So see, coming back is definitely something you do want to do because you're going to be missing some of your loot that you spawn with if you don't. So now that we've done that little early rush, we're going to head over and see if that gives us an advantage or a disadvantage. I feel like it's almost a massive disadvantage because we spent so much time focused on it as opposed to getting loot from the middle or aiming for center gear. Instead, we really focus on getting that first kill, which had no clear advantage from what I can tell currently. There might be a small one that pops up at some point, but from what it seems, there's not really a big one, if at all. And then see, we generally will die to another player because we don't have as much loot because we spent time killing somebody else for their spawn gear instead of mid gear, which is a lot more valuable. But there are some advantages, like if you're going for souls, you do get another soul that way, so that might be worth it and something to keep in mind. On this map, we're going to modify the meta a bit yet again, try some different things, and what we're going to go for is just the flat rushing center. There's no looting of your own spawn island. You just rush in and you just start grabbing all the loot here. We're going to try this strategy because I know a lot of players use this as well and go for this as their strategy. I personally feel like this is a really bad strategy because you're literally missing like all your armor if you don't get armor, and you're missing like everything this way. But a lot of players do see this as a valuable and effective method, which truthfully I'm not really sure how. Because literally all I have armor-wise is boots right now, and I'm not going to be able to go back to my spawn island. So, like, realistically, the only way to do this is if I get some good kills here and I get lucky. But see, I died. So generally, you're not going to get lucky. Now, I do see why many early game players and some late game players might even use this strategy. I can see why it's effective for multiple reasons, with the first one being that you actually don't have to loot really at all. That's a massive advantage for players who are slower or aren't sure what to take or what's valuable or what isn't. And especially for new players who need to be able to loot quickly and might not even be sure of all the loot that you can get. By quickly just popping the chest, it quickly pops in your inventory and you're well aware of what the opportunities that lie ahead are. Now, on a map like this, Ecologist rushing is pretty vital, to be completely honest, because if you don't get the chest, it's pretty important that you go for a strategy where you can grab these chests very fast and very quickly here. I definitely think it's very effective on a map like this, so I'm glad that we finished off the episode with that. Now, I could see why this is also an ineffective strategy. There's a multitude of reasons for why this doesn't work for everybody, with the first one being that if you do this, you don't get any actual items that aren't in the game already. You really have no sort of advantage over somebody else. You can't creeper bomb them. You can't go for any sort of strategy they might not see coming. With Ecologist, you only get the items that, you know, come out of spawn chests and mid chests or whatever you decide you're going to break with the axe. Not that that's a bad strategy, it's just that there's no sort of element of surprise here that you can really ever use. And also, I feel like you're kind of limited in what you can get and what you can use, because it depends on what chests you manage to break, much less on, you know, stuff like that. Now, it is a lot faster, though, for looting, so you might get higher kill games doing something like this, although I think that's largely due to your playstyle afterwards, and it doesn't matter too much on how fast you can loot as long as you're fast enough. And I think most players are already at the speed where they don't need to do this. It's more of a, if you want to try this strategy, you can. But it definitely does work, and I definitely like the strategy. I think that the players who use it might have a disadvantage, but they also could have an advantage in kills and souls and that sort of advantage. So it depends really what you're going for. If you're going for wins, I do think it's a lot more effective to use a different class, but that could just be my opinion on it. And I know there are players who are really high up in stats who still use Ecologist and all that sort of thing, but that's just not really my personal strategy. I'd rather go with a kit like Armor Smith, which lets me make a sharp 2 right off the bat, or something of that sort. I feel like that would give me a long-term advantage much higher. So that's definitely my opinion on it, but I can see why other players might go for this, especially like in fights like this, where fights like this get really annoying. And if you were a Ecologist and you rush them quickly right off the bat, then they wouldn't even have the potential to be doing this right now. That is definitely a good thing that you can do. You can kill players very early on, but instead I got whacked into the void right there, and I got the L from that guy. I'll take it, you know, I'll take it. But either way, I want to know what you guys think about the Ecologist rush strategy, whether or not it's effective, and whether or not you want to see more videos like this where I kind of like pick a strategy and analyze it a bit. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. Leave a like and subscribe. Check out my Twitter and my Discord, but I'll see you guys in another video. Thanks so much for watching.